Hey, what's going on, guys? It's this kid, and we're going to be talking about the Time-Lost Proto Drake today. Now, I made a guide for retail, but that is not what today's guide is going to be. Today, we're going to be talking about Classic. Now, in Wrath of the Lich King, the Time-Lost Proto Drake is much harder to get than really in any other expansion in the game. In Cataclysm, a lot of changes were made to make it a lot easier, but in Wrath of the Lich King, I'm going to give you just the general basics about how to get this mount, and then I'm going to give you some tips, some things that you can use in Classic versus retail. There are some benefits, even though it's a lot harder, and then we're going to go over some of the add-ons and different things like that you can use to get this mount as well. So first things first, the Time-Lost Proto Drake is going to spawn in the exact same 4 locations that it does in any other expansion. It's going to spawn in the Storm Peaks, and I'll put those coordinates up right now. The next thing that's going to be the exact same is going to be that the Time-Lost Proto Drake is going to fly in circles around the map, and it's going to depend on which spawn location it started from. I'll put those routes up here. Now, to add some clarity, the Time-Lost Proto Drake is going to spawn flying straight out of the mountain face itself. It's going to get ready to go on that route. It's not going to spawn on top of the mountain or anything like that. It's going to spawn already flying straight out of the mountain. And the last thing that's also going to be the same is that Viragosa and Time-Lost Proto Drake are going to share a spawn. Viragosa is a bigger blue drake, and it's going to have a 90% chance to spawn. Time-Lost Proto Drake is going to have a 10% chance to spawn. Now, there were some things that changed in Cataclysm, and I'll go over those now. The first thing is going to be the spawn time. So in retail, it's 2 to 8 hours, but back in Wrath of the Lich King, it was 6 to 22 hours, so that is going to be the same in Classic. Now, what that means is that if Viragosa spawns, you have to wait another 6 hours at least to see Time-Lost Proto Drake, and of course it may be Viragosa again and again and again until you finally get Time-Lost Proto Drake, but there's going to be 6 hours in between at the minimum. Another thing that changed after Wrath of the Lich King was the actual loot, the mount itself. When you kill Time-Lost Proto Drake, only 1 Drake is going to drop, so if you're in a group of 5 people, let's say, each of you is going to have to roll on the mount, so most likely people are going to be farming this solo. However, if you do have a chance to get in a group and cover all those different spawn points, I would say that's probably the best way to go about it. Getting a chance to roll on the Time-Lost Proto Drake and losing it, to me, is better than not getting a chance to loot it because someone else that's out of my group killed it. Especially when you're waiting those long wait times of 6 to 22 hours. I can only imagine waiting 22 hours and then seeing a random Time-Lost Proto Drake body there. However, keep in mind that even if you do group up with people, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to even get the chance to roll on it. The main benefit that you get from this is just knowing when Time-Lost Proto Drake and Viragosa spawn, because most of the time when it spawns in a certain person's location, they're just going to kill it instantly without getting you the chance to roll on it. Of course, a lot of people aren't going to be waiting those full spawn times though, and that takes me to my next point, which is something that Classic has over retail actually. And that point is layering. So in Classic, there is the option to go to different layers and see Time-Lost Proto Drake on any one of those layers. The spawn time for Viragosa and Time-Lost Proto Drake is going to be different for each layer. So in theory, really, you could have 5 different Time-Lost Proto Drakes up on 5 different layers if you had that many. So if you don't know much about layers, layers are kind of a way that Blizzard has separated a server and increased server stability and decreased lag and different things like that. You basically take a server and you cut it into chunks, and each one of those chunks is called a layer, and you do have the option of going out of a zone and going back into that zone and getting into a different layer or a different version of that zone, and you're going to see different players, different NPCs, different things like that, and most importantly here, possibly a different Viragosa or Time-Lost Proto Drake. So as far as I know, there are only 2 ways to switch layers. The first one is going to be leaving a zone and then re-entering the zone, or zoning into an instance and then zoning out of the instance. Most likely you're going to be in a different layer, sometimes you're not, it's not 100% accurate. The other way is going to be having someone invite you from a different layer, and the way you're going to see that is going to be with an add-on called Nova World Buffs. The Nova World Buffs add-on is going to tell you which layer you're on and which layer other people that have the add-on are in. Now with this, the easiest way is to just whisper someone and say, hey, can you invite me? And most likely, almost every time it's going to switch you to their layer, but sometimes it doesn't. If their layer is full, then you just can't get to it. However, right after I kill Viragosa, I would say try having someone invite you from a different layer. Not only is it going to give you a chance to see Viragosa or Time-Lost Proto Drake, but most likely it's just going to get you closer to that actual spawn time. If not, you're waiting another 6 hours in full before you can even see Viragosa or Time-Lost Proto Drake. So the best bet, I think, in Classic is going to be doing a few things. I think first of all, sitting at one spawn point and making sure that's covered throughout the whole time. Asking in general chat to see if anyone has the last kill time. If it is under 6 hours, then hop to different layers, do the same thing, and make notes of each layer and the spawn times for each of those. And then once you have that one spawn location down, try and move throughout the routes intermittently to try and check if it spawns somewhere else. But then the only other thing I can recommend is getting a few add-ons to make your life a little bit easier. The first two add-ons I'll recommend are going to be RareScanner and SilverDragon. Both of these add-ons are going to give you a UI alert and a sound alert whenever Time-Lost Proto Drake or Viragosa comes into your view. So that makes it really easy to just tab out, watch Netflix. You don't really want to be sitting there the entire time staring at the screen. It's really boring. It's really demoralizing, so you don't really want to do that. So if you do something else, you can still do it and kind of keep WoW open in the background with these two add-ons, and you'll still be able to farm just as efficiently. The next add-on I'll recommend is just going to be for any WoW player in general. It's going to be TomTom. If you don't know what this is, it allows you to map coordinates, and it gives you a little arrow that'll point you towards the coordinates. So really helpful for not just Time-Lost Proto Drake, but really anything in the game that involves looking for something. So TomTom is going to work really well in addition to all the things. All the things is going to tell you all the things that you do not already have in World of Warcraft. And it's going to be achievements, mounts, gear, all that kind of stuff. But if you alt right click the Time-Lost Proto Drake inside of all the things, it'll coordinate all of the spawn points for you, and it'll give you directions to each of them so you can move really efficiently and not waste any time. It'll make it really easy for you. But that's going to be it. Those are going to be the add-ons. That's going to be the general information for Time-Lost Proto Drake. Some of the things that you can do in Classic to get a little bit of a shortcut, but not really. In Classic, there's not much of that. It's just going to be a long grind in general, and you really have to have the heart, or at least the time, to put in and try and get this mount. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. Besides that, have a good rest of your night, your day, whatever the case may be, and good luck.